Welcome everybody to DLA. I am David Lombardino, and today I have the pleasure to be speaking with Dayla Santurri. Dayla, how are you doing today?
Great, David.
Well, welcome and thank you for joining us. So Dayla is a media strategist and event architect, and today she'll be talking about using DLA's editing services for her business. Dayla, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you to DLA?
Sure. So as you said, I'm a media strategist and an event architect. I've been doing events and media strategy for nonprofits since 2010 when I went out on my own as Informed Dayla Arabella Inc. One of the things that I have to do because of who my clients are is I have to work efficiently. I have to work efficiently. That helps my schedule. It also helps their budget. So it's important. So I realized early on that my small but mighty team of two needed to expand. And that's why I was so glad I met DLA editors. It was just one of those moments where I really knew I needed some help to help me on my own efficiency.
Yeah, awesome. So let's go back a little bit. So what was your background before kind of branching out on your own?
Sure. So I worked for Hilton Hotels. I was in corporate life for about 15 years before I went out on my own. And I ran a jazz club for a long time, so one that many people will know across the country. And part of that, I was in booking. And early on, we realized that we needed additional revenue streams. So I started renting the place out for events, then hosting events, then doing all the PR. And I said, I think I can probably do this on my own, especially because so many people renting the place were nonprofits. And I was able to see early on, some of the pitfalls that they fell into. And I thought, there's something there.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so when you did start out on your own, what vision did you have? I mean, I started my own business and I know what it's like to kind of have a sort of a dream, and you've got to have some amount of ignorance or naivety, I think, to go into it. But you start with a certain vision. What was yours when you went out on your own?
I saw a need in the nonprofit space in Boston and then all over the country that, there are many folks who could not afford a consultant who not only could put together an event and PR strategy, but also actually stay on to put the program in place. So I was seeing they were really be falling victim to many of the pitfalls that my for-profit clients could easily navigate. And I thought, I want to be there and I want to be that person because I know I could bring both of those solutions, both the planning and the implementation together.
Yeah. And so starting out with that vision, what did you see as the best strategy or best path, like starting out how to achieve that goal?
Well, many people already knew me in that space because I kind of was already well known for my pro bono help desk that I had. So I was fairly well known. So I think one of the first things I realized I needed to do was, who am I? Everybody knew me as, okay, this is Dayla, but what's my company? What's my own mission statement? So those were some of the very important steps. I didn't spend a lot of time worrying about, exactly what services. I kind of let the business grow organically to solve the problems that I could see around me with nonprofits in the area.
Yeah, awesome. And so what types of documents, I mean, I think it's probably evolved over time, but what types of documents have you, I guess, initially started working or asking DLA's assistance with?
Oh, really everything. Early on, I can't remember the exact date where we were started working together. It has to be at least a half dozen years ago. But we really everything from press releases to website copy to proposals, blog posts, really everything. And it was early on when I started using DLA editors that I realized what a vital component of my own toolkit that DLA would become.
Mhm. A lot of professionals, you're a native English speaker, you're an expert in your field. On a press release, for example, you know the kind of messaging that you want to get across, right? Why would you think to get outside help with that when you are the expert, presumably, right? I mean, your clients are hiring you for that.
Well, I think, DLA editors really does solve a problem, especially for people like me in this space. And when I say in this space, meaning the smaller consultancy, because your team is small but mighty, as I like to call it, never just small, small but mighty. but you need that second set of eyes. And so much when you have a smaller consultancy, you also need to work on your efficiency. So, how are you billing out your clients? You're billing out your clients on your time, but you know that it would be better to have a second set of eyes to go over some of your. I can tell you that many times DLA has worked with me with my deadlines. I am constantly under multiple deadlines, and that was one of the things. So the work is done well and efficiently, and that's something that is so vital. I don't know any consultant who doesn't need that on their team.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you mentioned you work primarily with nonprofits. Can you give a couple of examples of your clients?
Sure. Like the names of the folks that I work with.
Or certain, yeah, fields that
Yeah,
they're in?
sure. I work with the Big Sister Association of Greater Boston, Emmanuel Music, Launji School of Music, Catholic Extension, the Dimmick Center, I March of Dimes in New England. So
Okay.
this
And
goes on and on.
what kind of events do you put on for them?
A lot of nonprofit event galas. So a lot of galas, a lot of fundraisers. I also do work in the for-profit space as well. So just for full disclosure, I do work. I do product rollouts and launches and things like that.
Okay, awesome. And so overall, what would you say is the biggest benefit you've gotten from DLA services?
Well, that the work that I hand over to my clients now is not only done efficiently, which I'm usually good at doing that on my own, but it's the best work that I can deliver. And that's really because DLA has, and I will say, if I may, shout out to Terry on your team, because I worked with her for so long. I just think of her as part of my team now. I don't even think about I'm sending it to DLA. I really, oh, let me call Terry. Let me go. In fact, many of my clients will even say, oh, did you send it to Terry? So really, I mean, I think the efficiency of it, but also the fact that it's got a professional set of eyes that aren't mine. Especially when you're writing things that are so close to your heart. So many of these stories that, scripts that I've sent over to in my scripts for brand videos, really you start falling in love with your own work. So you do need that second set of eyes to say, Dayla, I know you own it, but I don't understand this, or this doesn't make sense. And we have that relationship, and it's priceless at this point.
Yeah, no, and it's really a pleasure for us as well to have grown with you over the years and to have helped you. And you do have a really great relationship with Terry. She gets excited every time she sees a project of yours come in. I know currently we're working on your new website to launch soon. So I know you're really excited about that as well. Um, and congratulations to your success. Not everybody who wants to start out can actually make it, and you've done that. So
Thank you.
if there was one thing, if you were to be able to talk to somebody who today is in your position back when you were first getting started, what is the one piece of advice you might give them?
Ooh, I think that the one in terms of using DLA, or
Yeah, in terms of
yeah,
using DLA, or if you want to answer it more broadly, that's fine too.
yeah. Well, I think that when I think early on, you're always wondering, how is this going to work in terms of the finances? You have to pay yourself, you have to pay your team, and thinking about it, whether you bringing someone in or you utilizing a service like DLA editors. You guys are always there when I need you, but then there are gaps when I don't, when I'm in between certain projects that just would not require your services. So I'm not hiring someone full time to put, to be in that place. So I think that thinking about DLA as truly as a something that's in your toolkit that you can pull out when you need them, that you can trust and you can count on, and that you can afford it, because essentially that efficiency that they help you provide to your clients does pay out, not even in the long term, in the short term.
Yeah. And like you said, takes the place of having to actually pay somebody, to bring them on board. So that's awesome. Well, thank you very much for sharing your story today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, and we look forward, obviously, with the website coming out and things to go in the future as well. So we'll be in touch again soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, David.
Bye bye.